Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Pit Podcast,
Podcast.
episode 21.
Yeah.
The greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Woo.
This was such a bad pay-per-view.
Yeah.
In my opinion, my most
One of
humble
the
opinion, this
worst.
pay-per-view sucked. And I really think it's down to the period of time that it laid in. And it was based off of Vince McMahon's bad booking of his dementia old self. This pay-per-view, Greatest Royal Rumble, in 2018 starts off with John Cena versus Triple H, which is
weird.
Yeah, it's such a weird opening. You have the two biggest main eventers of the mid-2000s, probably. Mid-2000s, early 2010s, and they start off a pay-per-view, and there's really no story. It's just, hey, these two are two of the greatest of all time, watch this. And this really did feel like Greatest Royal Rumble was just a showcase. Yeah. Which, in reality, it was. It was just a show for the Saudi Arabian people that don't really get to watch it.
At this time, honestly, a lot of their Saudi Arabia shows wasn't storyline built. It was a lot of just showcasing who they had. And
this was like Triple H and John Cena talked it out and just had the most basic match.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was a good match. I'd probably rate it 3 stars, 3.5, something like that.
Maybe, yeah, somewhere around there.
But they started off, I did like this. It was a test of strength, which was back to the old Bruno Sammartino days, when this is very bare bones professional wrestling. They start off test of strength, which you don't really see a lot anymore. Triple H, he got the upper hand, and he did the "you can't see me" little hand gesture, mocking John Cena, obviously, and he was in full control.
Yeah.
Cena kept trying to come back, but Triple H would just stop him every time. And I've mentioned this before. It's kind of that Triple H has the slow pace, Cena has the fast pace. Cena's trying to build up momentum. Triple H stops him, and he takes his momentum. Cena, and we've probably seen this, and I know we did see it with what was it? I can't remember. Like the John Cena guillotine leg drop into the powerbomb. That happened in this match, but that's happened in other matches. I think it's happened in one that we've done before over John Cena, but that spot's always a good spot.
Right.
And it is always a dangerous spot as well, because obviously we've seen Batista accidentally break Cena's neck doing that, so... But nothing happened here. There was an AA near fall, and then John Cena, trying to get into his groove, his rhythm. He's trying for another AA, and it gets put into a pedigree. And this was the stalemate moment of the match. They both hit their finisher. Both of them they're trying to finish each other off, but they just can't. And Cena's able to get Triple H into the STF. And I don't know. I think really after WrestleMania 30. I think that was actually the match where Cena had that powerbomb done to him by Bray off the leg drop.
Yeah.
But, as I was going to say, this crossface that Triple H locks in, I've really seen him doing that the first time in WrestleMania 30. Maybe WrestleMania 20 with Benoit, but he really started doing it during Daniel Bryan's era.
Yeah.
But, he did this to John Cena, which I really like that little subtle move. That's happened a lot with Daniel Bryan, and more recently, like, people have been hitting the pedigree, like Shawn Spears and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, but people also hit the GTS by Punk, and Miz has incorporated the yes kicks, and obviously that rivalry was amazing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I really just like this. This was a very bare bones match. There was an AA into a slingshot. So he hit the AA, didn't go for the pin, just slingshot him into the corner, picked him up, AA, and John Cena was able to pick up the win, and then he cut a promo thanking Saudi Arabia. Like I said, bare bones match. Yeah, it was a good match.
Very basic.
Very basic. Very, very basic. And, that's okay. Especially for it starting off, you have two of the biggest names. It was a good little start, and honestly, probably one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah.
And then we had Kalisto taking on Alexander. Alexander defending the Cruiserweight Championship in this match, and this was really the middle of when the 205 Live era was going on.
Yeah.
When they were having a Cruiserweight Championship match on Monday Night Raw or on these pay-per-views. And this match, you know...
It was fine.
It was a good match, but I feel like with most of the Cruiserweight matches, especially during this time, the fans just have no real reaction to it. It kind of becomes a default bathroom break match, when in reality, you know, if you go back to Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, or, you know, a lot of Cedric Alexander matches, a lot of Kalisto matches, a lot of Ali matches, Buddy Murphy, you know, Roderick Strong, Gargano and Ciampa was in the Cruiserweight Classic. I mean, there's a lot of matches, but the crowd just doesn't want it sometimes.
Yeah.
And this was one of those matches, but there was a springboard somersault. Basically, Kalisto had Alexander on the outside. He jumped over the top rope, landed on the middle rope, and did a somersault senton to Alexander, which was a really good spot. And then there was a move by Alexander, a somersault suicida is basically what I called it, where it's I think it's the Tope con Hero. I think, where he does the front flip over the top rope.
Yeah, I think that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Alexander, after he hit that, he put Kalisto back in the ring, and he controlled Kalisto with mat wrestling. Really good mat game, really good amateur wrestling background was shown by Alexander here. Like, just basic waist lock hold, picks him up, slams him to the mat, and it was a really good kind of shake-up from what you usually see for the Cruiserweights. Right. But, yeah, then there was a tilt-a-whirl tornado DDT by Kalisto, which is always... Nice. This was the Cruiserweight action. This was what everybody wanted. There was a Michinoku driver near fall by Alexander. And then Kalisto, he tried for a Frankensteiner, and Alexander kept blocking it, and then Kalisto turned that into a springboard Spanish fly, and that got a near fall. He basically held on to him. He put his legs on the top rope and then was able to hit that.
Bounce off.
That was a really good move.
Spanish fly, yeah.
And then, obviously, you had Alexander setting up for the lumbar check, and that got caught into a Hurricane Rana. And then, just as Kalisto's about to pick up his momentum, about to make a comeback, he goes for the Salida del Sol and gets it right into a lumbar check, does Alexander. Great move.
Yeah, he's able to turn the weight and...
Yeah, I liked that little...
Kalisto to land on his knees.
I liked that sequence. It was really good. And he was able to get the win off of that. It was a very basic Cruiserweight match.
Yeah.
It just adds to my point of this was a showcase match.
A lot of these matches
showcase show for...
yeah, a lot of these matches were just super basic. They're
very basic, which kind of took away from it.
Yeah.
And then next, we had Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt take on The Bar. For the vacant Raw Tag Team Championships. The championships are vacant because Braun Strowman won the championships with a little kid at WrestleMania.
A 10-year-old.
So he had to give it up. And this was...
Kid had to go back to school.
Yeah, he had to go back to school. And this was, you know, Hardy and Wyatt, they won.
Yeah.
And this match was okay. Wyatt and Hardy hit a neckbreaker bowling ball combo is what I called it. Like, very weird move. And that was the basics of... This was really the showcase for, look, this is Wyatt and Matt Hardy. This is their tag team, and it is what it was supposed to be. A very weird tag team, and very good, like... You had, obviously, for a long time, for a couple years, Matt Hardy be the talk of wrestling, even though he wasn't in WWE with his broken gimmick. And to have him come to WWE and make a tag team with Bray Wyatt, it was kind of like a dream tag team, and it worked out for what it was. They started a rivalry, then they went into a tag team, and they won the tag team championships here against, one of the best tag teams during this time.
Yeah, in the Bar.
Yeah, they had a leg drop senton combo, and then the Bar ended up isolating Hardy from Wyatt, and Wyatt, he eventually gets the tag. Cesaro hits a cross body. They basically, I can't remember what they had, but Sheamus got him up with a white noise, and they hit a cross body white noise. That got a near fall. And just as Sheamus was about to hit the brogue kick on Bray Wyatt popped up with that spider walk. Then Hardy distracted Sheamus for a minute, and then he got him with the Sister Abigail.
Yeah. And they hit it interesting, and then after that, they get, I believe... I think it was Sheamus still. They get him up, and they hit a elevated twist of fate on.
It was like a wheelbarrow twist of fate.
Yeah,
it was their tag team
Sheamus.
finisher. This was, I think, the introduction of that, and it was a good move. I liked it. And they were able to pick up the win, which was, surprising at the time.
Yeah.
And I
They
don't
were
know.
still a new, fresh tag team, and nobody knew what to expect from them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's nice looking back at Wyatt's career and seeing the chapters that led up to his death.
Yeah.
And the story completes itself. And that's what's so great about Bray Wyatt, because even though this wasn't a necessarily good time during his career, not many people maybe would have liked it as much as The Fiend or the Bray Wyatt character after The Fiend, or something like that. But I mean, this was another chapter, and it's nice to look back at that.
Yeah.
And then we had Matt Hardy's brother have the next match, Jeff Hardy defending his newly won United States Championship against Jinder Mahal in a rematch. And this was, sad to say, probably the worst match on the card.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy, this match is probably the most infamous for Hardy trying to hit that, what's it called? Whisper in the Wind. And he just missed, and Jinder Mahal still bumped.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it just...
Jinder should have just stayed up.
Yeah, that was the first real notable part in the match. The botched missed Whisper in the Wind. Then Sunil distracted. And Hardy set up for a move. The Twist of Fate. The Swanton. He was able to get the win. Nothing notable.
No.
It sucked. There was no story going into it. And, there was the botched freaking... I can't remember what it's called. What
Whisper in the Wind.
Yeah, the Whisper in the Wind.
I would have rather if Jinder just stood up and let Hardy take the botch than for both of them to look bad. Because, Mahal looked just as bad for taking the bump because it was so much of a miss.
I mean, legitimately, I can't see that that was Jeff Hardy's fault at all.
No.
Because he was the one...
I think Mahal was in the wrong place.
He was the one that's supposed to be getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked. And it just kind of put another blunder on this card that made me not really want to watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Jericho, he had a promo backstage talking about the greatest Royal Rumble, and he kept naming off dudes, and he was like, Mojo Rawley? That guy, he's awesome, Mojo Rawley. Really put an emphasis on his name. And then, this was the List of Jericho era, and Jericho, he kept telling, I think the guy's name is Mike, but he kept calling him Tom, and then Mike was like, my name is Mike, right? And he said, shut up, Tom.
You know what I do to guys who think that who try to tell me that I'm calling him by the wrong name? Tom! You just made the list!
You just made the list, Tom. Cameraman, you made the list. Sound guy, you made the list.
And everybody else in this 50-man Royal Rumble is gonna make the list, starting with... And he starts naming off different wrestlers like Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
This. Mojo Rawley again.
Daniel Bryan. Yeah, Mojo Rawley again. Yeah, this was... I really liked Jericho's List of Jericho. It was really creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next match was... very basic, 10 minutes maybe. Tag Team Championship on the line. SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos, and... another same thing as Bray Wyatt. Nice to look back at Luke Harper's chapters of his career.
Yeah.
This was 2 years before his death, and, he was defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Usos. It just wasn't a good match.
No.
It was a good match for what it was, but it was literally 5-10 minutes squash match of the Usos, which, that's all I'm really going to say about it.
Yeah, there's not really much else. No big spots or anything, just...
Now, there was one match that I was excited for, and that was that Intercontinental Championship match.
Probably the best match on that card.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably even more exciting than the Greatest Royal Rumble. For real, guys, if there's a card that you want to go watch, just to have a little bit of fun, sit down with your family, this one's not it.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
There's not much to it.
Seems like a bad concept. Why would you have a second Royal Rumble in the year? 50-man Royal Rumble, that's cool and all. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
But this was a really good match. This Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Obviously, when you have a ladder match, it's going to be exciting in some way or another. Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus The Miz. And, those are four of, right now, they're the ones running everything.
Right.
Balor with the Judgment Day, Rollins is the world champion, Joe is the AEW champion, and The Miz is with
Awesome
R-Truth.
which they have a 6-pack tag title ladder match.
Yeah, so this was really the workhorses of WWE in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
Just slugging it out in a Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship ladder match. And, yeah, Joe put the ladder in the corner, and he put it in the corner just to, set Balor up for something, and it fell behind him. He started walking towards Balor, and it just fell.
You hear the commentators go, whoa!
Yeah,
they thought it was going to smack Joe in the back of his head.
Then there was a little Tower of Doom spot. Balor was getting superplexed by Rollins, and Joe grabbed Rollins for the powerbomb. That was a nice spot. And then a really nice spot was when Miz, he gained full control, and this was his face run, leading up to the Miz versus McMahon in 2019. This was the face run before that. And he was getting a lot of momentum behind him. The crowd was actually behind him. They wanted to see him win. And he was able to, he put a ladder in the ring. He grabbed Samoa Joe and hit a skull-crushing finale onto the ladder, on Joe. And it looked devastating, honestly. And this crowd was going crazy for him. Balor and The Miz, they kept fighting for top position on top of the ladder. And The Miz is able to take out both Balor and Rollins, and the crowd's really oh my god, he's going to be Intercontinental Champion. And honestly, if Miz would have won, I would have been completely fine with that, because his reign as Intercontinental Champion is still legendary. It's still talked about. And, he did make it probably the most prestigious championship at that time, during 2016.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't think anybody would have been against him winning. Yeah, and then there was a coup de grace on The Miz on a ladder. And that
sounds painful.
Yeah, it
sounds so painful.
Whenever you see a coup de grace, it looks like it's going to hurt. But on a ladder is just crazy.
Somebody stomping into your chest on top of a ladder.
Balor's trying to get to the top of the ladder. Joe and Balor start fighting for the top position. And Balor gets put into the coquina clutch. And he's able to get out of it. But then immediately he gets caught with a Samoa Joe Uranagi. And Joe, he's trying for that championship. Balor's able to get him off. He goes to the top, and Balor's trying to win. Nobody in sight. Balor's climbing. He's climbing. Then Seth Rollins.
This was that spot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he climbs a separate ladder and jumps.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no,
that was
not that. He went from the apron. He jumped onto the top rope.
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about. He springboarded onto the top of the ladder. Okay, I was thinking of the wrong pay-per-view.
And for real, it was so quick. I think I looked down at my phone or something, and then Seth Rollins is all of a sudden Intercontinental
I think
champion.
I remember that. I think I remember watching that, and literally you couldn't look away because it was literally boing boing grabs the title.
He did it so quick. Balor was probably 3/4 of the way up.
Balor's just climbing up. Rollins bounces off, gets the title, and Balor's just
probably halfway up, and then he climbs so fast, and he rips it down, and he's the new champion, which. This started the Rollins Intercontinental Championship run, which was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Man, that was a crazy spot.
Yeah, it was awesome. He stole it right from Balor.
Balor's just looking up in surprise. He's like, huh?
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it. That was probably the best match of the night.
Yeah.
But this next match, just talk about a good match with a bad ending.
Yeah.
So bad. Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. This is notorious for being one of the best matches in all of Wrestle Kingdom history. And also notorious for being one of the worst rivalries in WWE history.
Mm-hmm.
Because this WWE Championship rivalry
had the potential to be one of the best rivalries.
Their WrestleMania match wasn't necessarily good. It was good, but not Wrestle Kingdom level.
Right, it could have been better.
So this was 3 weeks after WrestleMania. This was their rematch. You had that bad ending at WrestleMania 34 as well with the low blow. And, let's just talk about the good parts of it first. You legitimately did have Nakamura seeming like he could win this match. And this was his heel run. This was when he first turned heel on Styles. They were rope fighting. Like Nakamura, he has him up against the ropes. He's playing mind games with him, and he's antagonizing him. And then Shinsuke, he just takes over with these brutal strikes. And this really did feel like, okay, Nakamura is a heel now, and it feels like he's going back to that strong style kind of wrestling. And these were nice strikes, nice kicks. AJ was trying for a comeback, and he was able to get a comeback. He hit the Ushi-Goroshi. And then Styles tries to hit the Styles Clash, and he puts him in that position to pick him up for it. And Shinsuke basically goes over to the ropes. He holds onto the ropes, making sure he can't get hit with it. And then he takes control back again with those brutal kicks. And it was just amazing. Shinsuke went for the Kinshasa and then got put into a roll-up. Styles, little near fall. And Nakamura tries to come back to him, and he gets caught right in that calf crusher. And let me tell you, I love the calf crusher.
Me too.
It's one of my favorite submissions of all time. Probably one of the best submissions, in my opinion. When it comes to the setup, when it comes to who he can do it to.
Yeah.
And legitimately, I don't know if you've ever been put in a calf crusher. I put my little brother Jacob in it. Goodness gracious, I know it hurts. And he's screaming. He taps out immediately.
I know that has to hurt.
Yeah.
It looks so brutal every time he does it.
It does look brutal. They had the yay boo spot. Obviously, Styles getting cheered. And Nakamura's not. And then there was a great striking sequence, which leads to Shinsuke Nakamura putting in an armbar. And then Styles is able to get out of it, hits Nakamura with the Pele kick, and that stuns Nakamura. And then he tries for the phenomenal forearm, but he misses, and then the ref, he gets distracted because Styles, he misses the phenomenal forearm, almost runs into the ref, and the ref's distracted. Low blow by Shinsuke.
Of course.
And, okay, I just didn't like it.
Why did they have to do a low blow? I understand it with him being a heel. You kind of wanted to drive that home, but don't have a low blow in consecutive rematches.
I feel like the low blow is a tool. It is a tool for for heels in particular. Obviously you see some faces do it, but it's mainly a heel thing. It's a tool for heels, but it was the entire story. This wasn't a tool. This was the kind of pivot point for what this story was based off of.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just didn't feel like... It was just like, okay. Oh well, you lost at WrestleMania, so you whine like a little crybaby hitting the low blow, and then you do it during this match. It just takes the prestige away from it.
It doesn't do anything for
and
the
considering
match.
This was AJ versus Shinsuke, you want this to be a good match because they didn't have a good match at 34. You want them to have a good match. This happens. It's just like, as a fan, oh my god, are you serious again?
Yeah, and nobody really likes seeing the same finish twice, especially if it's not beneficial to the story. That doesn't really do anything for either superstar.
He hits the low blow, and he's trying for the Kinshasa. That gets caught into a forearm, and then they're outside brawling. And if the low blow didn't make it bad enough, while they're outside, AJ Styles, so built up with anger, so angry. Oh my god, you hit me in the nuts.
How dare you?
He just beats the hell out of Shinsuke and double count out.
Why?
A WWE Championship match at a, huge pay-per-view should not end in a double count out.
No.
And this really felt like it was just a transitional match for the next pay-per-view. And if you're asking me, I really don't think that a huge pay-per-view. This was a stadium pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a transitional WWE Championship match.
No, it should not.
It should not be. It should be another chapter in the story. This just felt like, okay, well,
what now?
Yeah. Obviously, you're gonna have a rematch, but at this point, do I even want to see a rematch between AJ and Shinsuke? I already know that WWE's probably gonna book it bad.
Right.
Because they've booked the first two bad. And I really didn't like it. They brawled into the timekeeper's area after getting counted out, and then AJ, he's able to get Shinsuke. Shinsuke's trying to escape, Shinsuke's on the outside, AJ's on the inside. He jumps over the top rope and hits with a phenomenal forearm. That ends the segment, and yeah, I just wrote down good match, bad ending. It was a good match until the low blow, and the low blow even then didn't ruin it. The double countout did. It really didn't feel good. I didn't like it.
It didn't make any sense.
And yeah, at this point of me watching the Greatest Royal Rumble, I was just like, okay, well, you give me that horrible WWE Championship match. You gave me two mid tag team championship matches, by the way.
And then a showcase match with
the Intercontinental Championship match was good.
And then you have
the other two were so basic.
Yeah.
But this next match, this really was a showcase match for the Undertaker.
Yeah.
This was so like. I will say that this was the match where I was like, okay, this is how a showcase match should be. You're showcasing the Undertaker to Saudi Arabia, which is probably... I don't know if they'd seen him at this point. I'm not exactly sure when the Saudi show started. I think it started in 2018.
Something like that,
or 2017, maybe. But, yeah, this was Undertaker versus Rusev, and I forgot that this happened entirely.
Yeah, me too.
I had never actually watched this, and then when I realized it was a casket match, I was like, oh, yes. Oh, yes. This was for real a good match. I liked this match. This was probably my favorite match other than the Intercontinental Championship match. To be completely honest. And, yeah, I really liked the idea. This really felt like this was one of them 1990s foreign wrestlers against one of the top stars of WWE. Like, this was Iron Sheik versus Hogan, but it's Rusev versus Undertaker.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked that. And, you know, a casket match in 2018 with Undertaker, it's just a privilege to watch.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure over the past few episodes we've done, we've had an Undertaker match in each one of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to... I'm very happy watching Undertaker matches. Undertaker's one of the best of all time.
Who's not happy to watch an Undertaker match every now and then?
They started off, you know, just feeling out process. Undertaker throws Rusev, and he kind of goes on top of the casket, and Rusev has this look of, oh my god, that's actually a casket, and he's trying to put me in that casket, and it's like that moment of the match where it's like, this is reality. You're in a match, you're in a casket match with the Undertaker, and he's freaked out by that. Rusev comes back in, and he basically takes control immediately.
Yeah. And
he's able to get the Undertaker, you know, at least stirring a little bit. But Taker takes control right back. And he hits that apron leg drop, which, just beautiful.
Always will be.
He puts Rusev in the casket, and he's about to close it. And Aiden English, very, very brave, stops the Undertaker, saying, I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that. And I just want to say one thing. Rusev... Looking back at this 2018 stuff, I know we looked at SummerSlam 2016, Roman Reigns versus Rusev. I liked that segment. Rusev really is missed.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of feels like something's missing, and like in WWE, they don't have that really good foreign wrestler that's like, he's just trying to beat everybody up. And Miro... his run as the TNT champion, that was another proof of Rusev's great. And I don't know. I really wish that Rusev was still in WWE.
I think he would be doing really well right now if that was the case.
Yeah.
He could have a lot of great feuds.
He was just so good, especially during this time. But Rusev, he's able to get out of the casket, and he hits a super kick on the Undertaker, takes back control. Stalemate moment of the match, the boo yay sequence. Undertaker obviously getting cheered, and Rusev, he's able to lock in the accolade, and this just looks devastating. I mean, you're sitting on Undertaker.
It's a more devastating version of the camel clutch, I think.
Yeah, Undertaker just kind of, he's putting that, and I don't know, it just feels so realistic that this could be the move that gets Undertaker to pass out and put in that casket. But obviously that doesn't happen. He calls for the casket to be open. His back is turned, and Undertaker just sits up. does that Undertaker spot. He sits
Yeah.
up. Rusev turns around, gets caught right into a choke slam. And, I mean, there was a great sequence leading up to the choke slam. And Aiden English once again tries to stop Undertaker. He gets choke slammed and tombstoned. And English, he's rolled into the casket with Rusev, and it's closed. They're both put in the casket. This was a great showcase match for Undertaker.
Yeah.
And it really shined a light on Rusev is a good, like, he's one of the top stars.
Yeah.
Like, in reality. I really liked it.
Yep.
And the next match, it was pretty
okay.
good. It was okay. I don't know. I just feel like the Brock Lesnar championship reign was so bad that it kind of overshadowed some of the matches he had. Because some of the matches were really good.
Right.
And I know a lot of people didn't like the finish with the steel cage, how Roman put Lesnar through the cage, and then they called it as Brock winning. Which I feel like was the right call. Like, watching it, Lesnar did land first. And, I mean, if you're going to go off of feet, it was just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of people didn't like this. I thought it was okay. Basically, Lesnar's trying to get Suplex City going. He hits 4 German suplex and then hits an F5 and then almost looks as if, wow, this is easy.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a rematch from WrestleMania 34 where Lesnar beat him, surprisingly. And, yeah, I mean, I just feel like maybe people didn't want to watch Reigns versus Lesnar again.
Probably. Honestly, probably was what it was.
Reigns hits the Superman punch, and he escapes out of the F5. He tries to get out of the cage because he's basically in the F5 position. He gets on top of the cage to try to get off of the F5, and then he's able to almost climb out, but Lesnar gets him. And yeah, Lesnar tried to get out of the cage as well, but that ended up not happening. Lesnar gets down, and he gets hit with 3 spears. And then Reigns goes for the door, and Heyman just, he runs his little penguin ass over and slams the cage right into Roman Reigns' face, stopping him from escaping, stopping him from becoming WWE Universal Champion. And Lesnar gets the F5, and Heyman basically, he slides a chair in for Brock Lesnar to, possibly hit Reigns with. And just as Lesnar's trying to hit him with the chair, Roman Reigns hits a huge spear. 1, 2, near fall. And, yeah, Reigns just unloads on Lesnar with that steel chair. Hits the Superman punch. Lesnar ends up being on the apron. He stands up, stunned. And Reigns hits that huge spear through the cage, which it did look really cool.
Right.
It was really awesome. Yeah. I like that spot.
Yeah.
It's just kind of overshadowed by all the politics of, I don't want to see Lesnar.
Who won? Don't want to see Lesnar still be champion.
Don't want to see Lesnar versus Reigns again.
Right. It was hard to tell. Yeah, it was very controversial finish.
Well, it was good. Yeah. It was okay. And Brock Lesnar retains the Universal Championship. And, not necessarily the outcome we wanted, but did you really want Reigns to be Universal Champion at this time either?
Not really. And
then we have the largest Royal Rumble ever. And I'm just going to kind of spit through this. Daniel Bryan came out at 1. Dolph Ziggler came out at 2. Sin Cara came out at number 3 and is eliminated by Ziggler immediately. Mark Henry comes in at 5. I think Curtis Axel came out at 4, and he's basically eliminated by Henry immediately. Kanellis comes out at 6, and I just want to say, greatest theme song ever. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like Kanellis is one of those guys where if he came back to WWE, he might be able to do some good things. Like, maybe not World Championship stories, but maybe be like a Cody lackey or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's really talented. But he comes in, and he's eliminated by Mark Henry, clothesline, Kane style, out of the ring immediately in, 2 seconds. And then there was some dude that I'd never even heard of.
Hiroki Sumi. The sumo wrestler. Apparently the story behind it is, for this show, they asked for certain superstars that were dead. I think it was Yokozuna, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. Really? They asked them to show up, and they're like, they're dead, but we can get you this guy. And so they bring in Hiroki Sumi. who, like I said, was a sumo wrestler at that time. And so him and Henry have a huge face down, and then Mark Henry ends up being able to eliminate him pretty easily.
And then Henry's eliminated immediately by Bryan and Ziggler. Like, right after.
Yeah.
And then Victor comes out at 8, and that's another tag team that, from 2018, underused. That I look at. Victor looks so talented. He's in that ring wrestling. He's doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good wrestler, and his presentation's awesome. And then you think about it, oh my God, this guy has a tag team partner. If they would have been booked better, they could have been world or tag team champions. Yeah. And I feel like they would be a good tag team to have today. Yeah. But I don't know, just kind of sad to see what could have been. Right. But yeah, what the Ascension could have been. Kofi came in at 9. Tony Nese came in at 10. Dash Wilder came in at 11. Swoggle came in at 12. Kofi and Swoggle were kind of working together, and then Swoggle betrays Kofi, kicking him, and then he hits him with a Samoan drop. And then Swoggle ends up trying to go on the top rope. Ziggler stops him, and then Ziggler's trying to eliminate Swoggle, and he just bites Ziggler's finger. And then Nese eventually eliminates Swoggle, which I wasn't opposed to. Primo came in at 13. Xavier Woods at 14. And it was a really cool spot. The obvious Kofi spot in the Royal Rumble where he's gonna almost get eliminated but not get eliminated.
Yeah.
And that was basically Kofi hanging on to the back of Woods. And it was kind of weird. Woods held on to him. He tried to get to the top rope, and then he just kind of leaned over the top turnbuckle, and Kofi got on his back and then jumped on the crowd. Or not the crowd, but everybody in the ring. But yeah, that was a decent spot. Nese dances with the New Day as a little celebration. And then they pick Nese up like they would Big E and just throw him over the top. So Tony Nese gets eliminated from the Greatest Royal Rumble. Bo Dallas at 15. Kurt Angle at 16. And he hit Suplex City on everybody. Primo and Bo were both eliminated by Angle almost immediately. Angle then belly-to-belly suplexes Ziggler out. And it's so cool to see him in a 2018 Royal Rumble. Scott Dawson at 17. Goldust at 18. Connor from Ascension at 19. Elias at 20. And I miss Elias. That's another guy I feel like if he would be in WWE right now, he could be Intercontinental Champion. And his gimmick was so good. I don't know why they changed it to Ezekiel and then why he ended up just getting fired, really. So I really miss him. Elias he had a little promo as he was coming to stage, and Michael Cole was going crazy for him, which I was kind of like, wow, really? Like, it seemed like Elias was Cole's favorite. But Elias is eliminated. Or actually, Elias, he comes in the ring and he eliminates the New Day and Connor.
Dang. Like,
all at the same time. It was so cool. Luke Gallows at 21, and then there was like a face-off between Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle, which would have been a great dream match. Oh, yeah. Those primes meeting up would have been awesome. Yeah, and then Elias is eliminated. Actually, no, he's not eliminated. Sorry about that. He eliminates Kurt Angle. Rhino at 22, Drew Gulak at 24, Tucker Knight at Gulak at 23, Tucker at 24. Gulak was eliminated by Tucker. Bobby Roode at 25. I miss Bobby Roode as well. That's another guy. He could be world champion.
Bobby!
Maybe not now, but he could have been.
What I heard is that he's cleared. He just doesn't want to come back because he doesn't want to risk things.
That's honestly a shame because I feel like Bobby Roode, he still could make a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
his style with who's at the top right now with WWE, I think he would fit in perfectly right along. Even going down to NXT too, like just if he were to go back to NXT for a little bit, I think that'd be a good fit for him.
I feel like it would really. A lot of the TNA guys from like the 2000s, you have LA Knight. Well, not from the 2000s, from the 2010s, 2000s. Mm-hmm. AJ Styles, LA Knight, Bobby Roode would fit perfectly into that. And I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm just not thinking about off the top of my head. But yeah, I do miss him. Goldust was taken out by Roode. Dawson, somehow eliminates himself, which I was kind of surprised by. But Fandango came out at 26. The crowd's crazy for Fandango every time he comes out. Yeah. Which is just kind of crazy that I never really realized it in the moment. But looking back, I'm a huge fan of him.
You never realize how over Fandango was in his time in WWE.
Gable came out at 27 with the long hair. And Gable versus Bryan is like a dream match that I don't think happened. Maybe it did, but
I don't think it did.
Just seeing that showcase or that standoff was really cool.
Yeah.
Mysterio out at 28. Gallows out by Rey Mysterio, and then Mojo's out at 29. Dango gets eliminated by Mojo. Breeze comes out at 30. And then Breeze is also out by Mojo. And it was a nice little sequence. Basically, Breeze got on the apron. Mojo tried to eliminate him, but he jumped onto Dango.
Yeah.
And then Dango puts him back up and then immediately gets eliminated by Mojo. Big E came out at 31. And then E throws pancakes right at Tucker, like, immediately. It was kind of disrespectful how he did him, it was kind of cool. Or kind of funny. And then he eliminates Tucker. Carl Anderson at 32. Apollo Crews at 33. Gable's eliminated by Apollo. Roderick Strong at 34. Strong eliminates Rhino. Randy Orton at 35. Orton eliminates Carl Anderson. Then he eliminates Mojo Rawley and Apollo Crews. Slater comes out at 36. Babatunde at 37. Corbin at 38. The song for Corbin was amazing. That Lone Wolf gimmick was so good. Corbin eliminates Bobby Roode. Then Titus O'Neil came out. And it was so funny.
Titus World Slide!
Yeah. And then Titus... Oh, yeah. Basically, it was Dan Matha, who, he was, 7 foot tall. I'd never seen him before this.
I've heard the name before, but I don't remember.
His song absolutely sucked.
I bet it did.
It was stupid. Braun Strowman came out at 41. Braun then throws Dan Matha and Babatunde out. Then he throws Big E out. Then he throws Heath Slater out. Ty Dillinger comes in at 42. And then Titus, Ty Dillinger, Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, and Randy Orton are all thrown out. Pretty much right after one another. Hawking came out at 43.
Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, Kurt Hawkins. Sorry about that.
I said Hawking.
Then Hawkins comes out and he gets chased by Braun.
Oh, I remember that because he goes underneath the ring.
Yeah, and then he's basically eliminated immediately. Lashley comes out at 44, and then Lashley and Elias, they have a little standoff, and Elias is eliminated. There's corner drop kicks on both Lashley and Strowman by Bryan, back and forth. Then someone who I didn't really expect to come out, the Great Khali, he comes out at number 45, and then he's eliminated immediately. Kevin Owens at 46, Shane McMahon at 47, and then both Shane and Bryan hit the yes kicks on Kevin Owens. Shelton Benjamin at 48, Big Kaz at 49, Jericho at 50, and yeah, there was a lot more action. And Braun Strowman basically won the end. I think Daniel Bryan lasted an hour and 12 minutes from number 1, and then he got eliminated by Big Kaz. I think he was the third from getting eliminated. Then Kaz got eliminated. But yeah, it was a
interesting pay-per-view to say the least.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and even the commentary, you could tell that they were kind of tired of the night.
Yeah.
Everybody. I even felt that way watching it. I was like, man, I don't really want to watch this. Because it was just so long. The pay-per-view was 5 hours long. The actual Greatest Royal Rumble was an hour and a half. So it was pretty...
Pretty long.
Yeah, it was pretty kind of exhausting.
Yeah, this says... What I'm looking at says the whole Greatest Royal Rumble was 77 minutes, which would have been an hour.
An hour and 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that... I mean, it wasn't bad. It was exciting, but... I don't know, after a long night of that, it's just you don't really want to watch it.
Right. And also, a fun fact with this, until this past Royal Rumble, or not this past one, but the one before, 2023's Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan technically would have gotten the record if they would have counted the Greatest Royal Rumble as a Rumble. He would have had the record before Gunther and Rhea. but they didn't count it, so they kind of booted him out.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the greatest Royal Rumble. And that was probably, I'm willing to say that was the worst pay-per-view that we have actually
Done
reviewed
so far. Yeah. I agree.
But, yeah. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right.
Don't watch this pay-per-view.
Yeah. Don't waste your time. Don't waste 5 hours of your day. See ya.
Up in it, baby, we tryna get higher. Put it back, I cooking a rack, me eating that pack of bonus stopper, holding it down, pull up in the primary rip, that just not faking the cap. Yeah, killing the trapper, coming back, I'll break new loose, keep up in the track. I'm feeling the beachy, burning, healing, marketing, typing, baking, scream. Don't clap in the sea, air track and pee, I'm master love, but fiend deep. I'm switching my game, take passion, even with my shot, no line to see.